Hey, welcome. That was quite the countdown little graphics there you had going on. Welcome everyone to the post-Christmas edition of the Ball Hawks podcast. As you saw, Rudolph was leading Santa, just like we will be leading you through the next, hour and a bit here, however long we decide to take. I'm your host, Steve Fisher. I don't know why I paused there. Like I forgot my name. Like, yeah. Good thing it's on the screen. It says, yeah. I'm in a new place. This is my first time podcasting in the new house. Like I don't know what to do with my hands anymore, guys. Yeah, you can see my Twitter down there at ssfisher87, but you probably don't want to hit me up because I don't even know my own name. So I doubt I have good content on there. Make sure you guys, if you are on Twitter, you won't be able to comment, but join us if that's you just want to come in and listen. If you want to come in and join and hit us up in the chat to maybe tell us how stupid we are, make sure you go to our YouTube page or our Facebook page, and you'll be able to get into the mentions there, and Chris will do his fancy little graphic thing, and your thing will be live, and you'll seem like a big shot. Probably are a big shot, though. Yeah, happy holidays, everybody. Hopefully you had a good Christmas. Whatever you're doing in the holidays, hopefully you've had a little relaxing time. I am joined here on episode number 44 with Christopher, the scarecrow of this show, Phillips. What's happening today?
Is the scarecrow the one that wanted the brain?
Yeah.
Shit. If I only had a brain. I mean, you know what? Hey,
have you ever watched a show in your life?
The shoe fit. Part of me pot calling the kettle black there.
No idea what you're talking about right now.
Yeah. Happy to be here. Record-setting 44th straight time. Hope everyone had a very Merry Christmas and hopefully you're enjoying some time off. And I know us up here in the Okanagan and most of probably this country is covered in snow and got to enjoy a white Christmas, which is always fun. I mean, especially for the kids, they love going outside and playing in the snow. But you guys can find me over on Twitter at PhillipsChris12. Don't forget to follow the podcast account at ballhawks_pod. And Steve, how was Christmas in the new house?
It was a little weird. Yeah. I still feel like I'm, just in a hotel right now. Everything seems foreign, but it is nice getting into a new house. The house, I mean, I probably wouldn't have bought it if I didn't like it, but I think it's beautiful. Lots of space. We've added about, almost 40% more space than what we're used to. So there's a lot of empty places, and we're like, what do we put in there? Like, do we just stack stuff in this thing that we've never had before? But yeah, it's the coldest day of the year. I think this is going to be the coldest day of the year. You said it got down to like minus 27 or 28 or something like that. You showed your kids what happens when you put boiling water in super cold air, and you can hear their amazement. Whoa! Yeah, that's right. Daddy Sciences, big deal.
That was like my second or third time doing it too.
Oh. Magic Man.
Yeah, do it again. Hey, if you want me to do it again, I will gladly do it again.
That's right.
Look how amazing I am.
It might be super chilly, but it is just gorgeous outside. Like beautiful blue skies. Like this is my favorite type of winter days. The cold doesn't really bother me. I just like the sun. And so even if it's minus, 27, minus 30, it's still just nice being out there with the sun shining on you.
Especially where we are, like we don't see the sun a lot in the wintertime where we are. It's usually pretty gray and clouded over. So anytime that we do get to see the sun between the months of December and March, it's a nice welcome, although it makes it that much colder, of course. So you moved in. Random question: you moved in just a few days before Christmas. What did you guys end up getting a tree?
Oh, we got a tree.
Oh, did you? Okay.
Yeah,
So-
we moved on the 21st. So we get the keys at like noon on the 21st. The first day is basically just unloading everything into the garage. Just get it out of trucks and trailers and that was the whole first day. And already I'm nursing a pretty nasty actual back injury that just won't go away, and I'm being an idiot and not letting it go away. So it's a very slow move in right now because I'm like, okay, I want to get that thing moved. Yeah, I can't lift that. Oh, I can't move that either. Oh, I got to go lay down because I can't turn my back this way. So, life could be a lot worse. Life could be a lot worse. I'm in a basically brand new house, so pretty fortunate. My back's always been bad, so I'll deal with it and just make my wife move everything.
Yeah, that'll go over well.
I mean, it's either that or I heard it more and she gets to hear me complain even more. So I think she'll take the former rather than the latter on that one.
Yeah.
Let's get into some NFL stuff. You didn't watch too much NFL yesterday because you were redoing Christmas because your little guy was, feeling under the weather and you had to postpone Christmas. But at least you got to do that. You watched most of the Seahawks game. The first one I wanted to talk about, our good old friends, the desperate Jaguars. They can't help themselves but just find a way to get on our show. I don't know how they're doing it, but it seems like every week they do something that embarrasses themselves. And this week was, I think, Zach Wilson's basically his signature play of his career so far. Like he doesn't really have those wow moments in his career right now. He's had a struggling first rookie year here. But he took a 52-yard scramble to the house, and he made the Jags look dumb. Did you end up seeing this one?
I didn't. I'm gonna watch it right now, actually.
Okay.
Oh, they almost they almost had him too. Like he was in their grasp, and he's not fast. He's not.
He's more just like slippery and just agile, kind of, right?
Yeah, like he's not a very fast quarterback. Like the fact that he was able to make it 52 yards down the field, like I'm watching him, I'm like, someone's gonna get him eventually. But yeah, he just, I don't know. It's like watching a guy play dodgeball, and he's can just somehow maneuver his way around from ever getting hit with a ball. So
yeah, it was. I mean, good for Zach Wilson. I kind of feel for him. He hasn't really had the start to his career you would hope. But there is one good thing. He seems like he's a better scrambler maybe than, when he gets in the open field than Kyler Murray. Did you see Kyler Murray's all the comments about him when he gets taken down from behind? Like he is going hard and gets taken down at like the 2 or the 1 yard line. And everybody is just like, oh, Kyler Murray, those legs are moving like at lightning speed and he just cannot get away from people. Like just another short joke at the expense of Kyler Murray, but it looks like it. It looks like he's just going, and you're like, man, this dude is fast. And then you look at somebody with like regular sized legs, just catches up to him and takes him down, and you're like, oh yeah, you're gonna hear about that one. He looks like little Super Mario out there, like do 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 do, and then he hits like the star mode. Yeah. The second one that we should talk about is Justin Jefferson. He officially broke Odell Beckham's record for the most receiving yards in the first 2 seasons. So one LSU guy breaking another LSU guy's record. What do you think about that one? Where does that put Justin Jefferson in in your wide receiver ranking?
In the lexicon? I mean, Justin Jefferson's a good wide receiver. Like I don't know, like was it last week or 2 weeks ago that I tweeted out like, and I'm sure I've talked about it on this show as well. It's like every week the NFL is like, and that's a new record, and that's a new record, and nobody cares about this record, but that's a new record too. It's just like if something. Oh, I saw something on Twitter where it was like, Ben Roethlisberger has never lost a home game following the release of a new Spider-Man movie or something like that. And it was just like, but like that's the point that this has gotten to, where it's just like, let's bring up the most random, bizarre things we can think of and talk about it. And to me, it's just like, if it was like
that one's random and bizarre though.
If it was a rookie record, then sure, cool, that's awesome, that's great. But it's just like, he holds record for the most receiving yards over a 2-year span. It's just,
So for me, I feel like that one means a little bit of something. Obviously, what he did as a rookie was incredible. But when you think of rookies who have these massive rookie campaigns, and then they have, the dreaded sophomore slump, we like to call it. I guess that's why this one in particular for me seems like it's kind of a big deal, because he had this incredible first year, kind of probably surprised a lot of defensive coordinators, probably surprised a lot of defenses. But then people get time to plan for you. And, obviously with Adam Thielen there and Dalvin Cook, he doesn't get doubled probably as much as he should. But Dalvin Cook is in and out of injuries. Thielen, hasn't been healthy the whole year. And he just seems to be stepping his game up consistently. He's probably one of the few LSU players I actually like, and it's only because I have him in fantasy football. And so I've sort of I've wanted him to do well for so long. And now that he does so well, I feel like I respect what he's doing so much more. He is so insanely smooth in and out of his breaks. But where do you actually put Justin Jefferson in your wide receiver rankings? If you is he top 5, top 3?
He's for sure top 5 receiver in the league.
Who do you have them? Just off the top of your head. I know you haven't done any research on this, but
Devontae Adams.
He's your number 1, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Thanks for putting me on this.
Adams is only receiver in NFL league.
Yeah, Jesus. Thanks for putting me on the spot here. Quick, name 5 receivers better than Justin Jefferson.
There's
Cooper Kupp would be top
there.
Yeah,
Cooper Hill.
Yeah.
Debo. I don't know.
Debo is
Chase, Stephon Diggs.
Debo is the best gadget player in the league.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is he a top 3 then?
He's top 5.
Okay.
He's top 5.
I don't know. I feel like he's creeping into my top 3. I don't know if there's 3 guys that I would rather have more than Justin Jefferson, just because of everything he can do. All right, we'll move on from that. I put you on the spot too much. You're sweating profusely over there. But who else was sweating? The reporter asking Bill Belichick questions. So I know you just kind of caught up to this one when I told you I wanted to talk about it. Why would you go through your entire schooling career, get your journalism degree, do whatever you have to do to then get a job, whoever your boss is you're going to, be at the Patriots podium. You're going to get to ask Bill Belichick a question. And then you ask it. I can't even remember what it was. Do you remember the exact words of it or roughly what it was?
It wasn't just something do you have any New Year's resolutions?
Okay. Yeah. So basically
something along those lines.
She asked him it's not football related. And you can see his demeanor be are you kidding me? We just lost.
Okay, to be fair, that's Belichick's demeanor all the time.
I feel like he dropped even a lower demeanor when she said this isn't a football related question. He's so you have a stupid question and it's also not football. This is great. And then he basically just says no, I don't have any comment for that. Move on. Okay. Thank you, Bill B. I got a great laugh out of it at that poor young lady's expense. But maybe come with a better question for a guy, and maybe read the room a little bit, know who you're asking a question to. You know, it's Bill Belichick. You know, is like notorious for these soundbite things of just abusing reporters. Don't come with a stupid question like, what's your New Year's resolution? I
And
don't know.
also,
Win a
well,
football game.
I mean, Belichick's right. New Year's resolutions are stupid, anyways.
That is true.
I am a full non-believer in New Year's resolutions. I think they're stupid. They're a waste of time. You have a built-in excuse to break it every year as well. Like, if you want to make changes, make changes. Make a change today. Make a change tomorrow. If you want to wait to the new year to make a change in the new year. But like, to call it a New Year's resolution, I've always disagreed with, because you can always just tell yourself, oh, well, like, I'm just going to stop doing that, because, nobody follows their New Year's resolutions anyways. So yeah, don't make New Year's resolutions, people. If you want to make changes, but resolutions are dumb.
Yeah, I'm all for make changes, be the best person that you can be yourself. But like Chris said, New Year's resolutions, as long as it changes from a resolution to a lifestyle change, I can always get behind that. So I'm there with Bill Belichick. Now, we couldn't talk about around the NFL stuff without talking about the WFT hitting the WTF.
They got absolutely pounded last night.
So I didn't watch anything. I'd watched, obviously, the Ravens game. I watched quite a bit of the Seahawks game, actually. And then I was like, I should probably dad a little bit here and play with my kids and stuff like that. And so I just turned the TV on right as soon as halftime ended. And I was like, oh, I'll just check to see what the score was. And I was like, does that say 42? It's at the start of the third quarter. Like, this game isn't even over. It's 42. I think it was 42-7.
Yeah, I think so.
And then I jump on Twitter and I was like, oh, I see what's going on. This is an out of hand kind of game, if you will.
Yeah, I didn't really watch it either. Same thing, just being dad, doing. Well, we redid Christmas dinner last night, like you had said. Carter was throwing up on Christmas Day, so we had to cancel Christmas dinner. But of course, I already had the turkey in the oven, so I still had to cook it on Christmas. So had my parents over. Just wasn't really paying attention to football, anyways. But then I turned it on. I think I watched the fourth quarter, because that was after my kids had gone to bed, and it had big fantasy football implications for me, because I was leading by, I think, 6 points, and my opponent still had CeeDee Lamb and Michael Gallup playing. So like, I'm just like screaming, like hoping and praying, like, put in the backups, put in the backups. Come on, get your starters out of the game, keep them healthy. And thankfully the Cowboys did, but I missed what everyone was talking. I mean, everyone was talking about, Washington taking a beating, but then also there was a sideline beating. Actually, before we get to that, did you see the absolute pettiness that Washington showed up with their own benches?
Oh, did they? No way.
Yeah.
No,
yeah. After the Cowboys went to FedEx Field with their own custom benches, Washington did the same thing in Jerry's world.
That is so, like, actually, Jerry, we don't want heated benches. Get them out of here. What, like, is that going to be a new thing in this rivalry going forward? Is what a waste of money. Like, what an absolute waste of resources and money to fly benches over.
So apparently, they were actually the Cowboys had those custom benches done by someone local in Washington. So they didn't actually fly their own benches in. They sourced out benches that were local in Washington, and then the people that they were going to rent them from were like, oh yeah, like, do you want us to put like your logos on them and decal them up for you? Jerry's like, I've got lots of money. Yeah, let's do that. But I hope it becomes a thing. I love seeing it. I love seeing just the pettiness of it all is hilarious to me.
Yeah, do you have the clip of what everyone was talking about? Let's roll that clip first before we get into it.
College teammates as well. Oh, well.
So that is two defensive linemen, two big boys, former college teammates at Alabama, Deron Payne and Jonathan Allen, both, first round picks of the Washington football team. It's pretty obvious what's going on. Like, you're getting your ass kicked and you're embarrassing yourself. You're getting embarrassed on national television. Emotions are running high. Who knows what was said? Who knows who started like the verbal back and forth, or what led up to Deron Payne putting his finger, on Jonathan Allen's forehead and essentially just like giving him the tap. And Jonathan Allen stands up and, takes a swing at him. And you can't really see if he connects with it. But he throws a punch at his teammate on the sideline. And then they were asked about it today, obviously. And Jonathan Allen says, I don't think it takes a rocket scientist. If you look at how that game went, emotions are high, things are high, things happen. And then, Deron Payne didn't want to get into it, but he called it just a little brotherly disagreement. Maybe the wrong place, wrong time, but it happened. And of course, everyone wants to blame somebody in these things. But, I jumped on Twitter and I was like, if you put your hands on another dude's face, expect to be punched. Like, especially when your emotions are heightened to the utmost. You don't know what was said, but if you keep your hands off of my face, I won't punch you. That's an almost guarantee. But the second you put your hands in my face, especially, there's something about putting your hands on another person's face that is to me, that sends me into the red zone. Somebody can sort of grab your arm or grab your shoulder to talk with you, or even getting up in your face. That's one thing. But as soon as you put your hand on another dude's face, just expect to get punched. There's no other way around it. I don't really condone, punching and physical violence. I think it's very petty, but that would seem like a natural reaction to me if somebody put their fingers in my face. Do you agree?
I don't like people touching my face.
Yeah.
I don't like to. I actually I don't even like touching my own face, but I don't like my. I do not like people touching my face. I don't let my kids touch my face. Nadine is allowed. My wife is allowed.
Here first, everybody. Chris's wife is allowed to touch his face.
Yeah, my wife is allowed to touch my face. But people, I've had people reach out to I'm like, don't touch me. You can kind of see it in the clip too. Jonathan Allen's got that look on his face. Did you really just put your hands on me? Did you really just touch me? What are you thinking? Sort of thing. Yeah. And it's just, I don't know.
What a wild thing.
Keep your hands to yourself, kids. You learn that in kindergarten.
Yeah. There's just so many layers to that too, being teammates at Alabama, now teammates, at Washington. You've obviously are both top high-end defensive line prospects and picks in the draft. That defensive line is what makes Washington's defense so good. Obviously, Chase Young is a huge part of that. Him being out affects that big time. But you got those two guys. You've got,
Montez
Chase
Sweat is
Young,
out too, though.
Montez Sweat. I think he went out in that game, didn't he?
He's been out for a while, hasn't he?
Has he? I thought I saw somewhere on there that he was actually in that game. But either way, that's a huge part of what makes you a special defense, in my opinion. So I have no doubts these guys will get over it. They're probably already over it. I don't know about you, but it's a very guy-like thing. It's someone punches someone. It's all right, next day, whatever. It is what it is. Get over it. Let's get back to work. This is our job.
Yep.
All right. I don't have anything else around the NFL. So unfortunately, you and I have got to divulge our teams, and I'm giving you the lead on this one this week because I'm just delaying my
Didn't I take the lead last time?
No, last week we had Pilot Pete on. That didn't.
Okay,
really
well, the time before that, Steven.
I don't even know what I had for breakfast today, Chris.
Neither do I.
Okay.
Fun fact: I didn't have breakfast. Fun fact.
So you do know.
I do.
Oh, there we go. The graphics have changed. It is very Seahawk blue and green here. You're up, dude.
Yeah. So, Seahawks, Bears, beats Battlestar Galactica. What do I like? What do I say? Like, the team looked good in the first half. Rashad Penny seems to be suddenly good at football again.
Saved your fantasy season too.
My fantasy season, big time. He was my probably second highest point getter on my team yesterday. Actually, fun. Here's another fun fact. Since we're talking about my fantasy team, did you guys know that I won my semifinal matchup against our friend Ted to put myself in the finals? And I had two guys post zeros.
Two of them.
Two. And I still beat Ted.
Goodness.
Sorry, Ted. Sorry.
Me and another guy in our league, I don't know if he wants me to say who he is, but we were making fun of Ted a lot yesterday because he clearly did some tinkering in his lineup. Like, he sat Patrick Mahomes. Now, normally, Stafford has been great this whole year. He's been phenomenal. But Mahomes is one of Ted's keepers. You don't tinker with your lineup in championship weeks. Like, if I lose and my keepers and like my top end guys put up zeros, bagel boys, or don't put up good numbers, I can live with that. I can live with, the guys that I trust to get me to and win a championship have a down week. That's fantasy football, but you never tinker with stuff like that. So there was a lot of things going on in that matchup. And I don't know about you, but I posted it on Twitter because you are officially Ted's kryptonite. You are his kryptonite. This is the third time in about 5 years that you guys have been in the semifinals. Ted has gotten a first round bye and you have bounced him in the first opportunity you had. And one of those weeks one of those years we talked about was maybe the greatest fantasy football team assembled I have ever seen in my life. You had no business beating Ted. Just like this week, I don't want to say
Ted was undefeated.
But you probably shouldn't have beaten him this week either.
No, probably not. Especially when I have two guys that put up zeros.
Right. So, hey, Rashad Penny saved your season. Ted's a big dumb when it comes to starting people, and you're in the championship. You got a shot. You're in the dance.
I didn't even want to make playoffs, and here I am.
Playoffs?
I just want to beat Ted.
I hope he's listening. Probably not.
Anyways, Rashad Penny looked good. He had a couple of really big runs. Like I was watching the game with my dad, or second half, anyways, with my dad, and I said to him, I was like when like Rashad Penny is like lightning quick. Like if he can, if the line can block for him, and there's like a small gap for him to get through. Like once he gets to that second level, he's hard to catch because he just has a really good burst. Russ looked good in the first half. Defense, no complaints there. I think Seattle was up like 17-7 at the half. It was a snow game too, guys, which like a snow game in Seattle. We never get those. So that was fun to watch.
Did you see how pumped up Russ was beforehand? Like talking to the camera and stuff. He's like, snow game here in Seattle. Let's go, baby. Like just so pumped up.
I saw it. I never actually watched the clip with audio. I did see, however, it was Travis Homer and DJ Dallas in pregame warmup, and Travis Homer was throwing snowballs at DJ Dallas.
I mean, I feel like as a pro athlete, when you're faced with such pressure all the time going into these big games, or just really any game, you've got millions of people watching you. Um, I feel like you need to keep yourself loose by whatever means necessary. So if that means throw snowballs, have some fun with it. Like, just do what you have to do.
Yeah. It's it's fun. I mean, snow is fun. Other than that, like, I don't know what happened in the second half. I actually, at one point turned the game off, to show my parents what their Christmas present was. So I've referred to it in the past, but for anyone who isn't aware, I took our old family videos and turned them into digital for my parents' Christmas present this year. So I plugged those in during the Seahawks game so that we could watch some of those and have some laughs or whatever. And apparently, in that time, the wheels fell off. Like, from my understanding, the Seahawks at one point got all the way down to the Chicago 8-yard line. It was third down. Russ took a sack for a 13-yard loss. And then Jason Myers came out and missed the field goal.
Yep, he did.
Yikes. He's been awful this year too, especially after, like, he didn't miss a kick last year. And this year, I think he's missed at least 6.
Yeah.
And then it comes out today in the press conference. Apparently, Pete was yelling and screaming, "Where's Rashad Penny?" And apparently Rashad Penny was on the bench because he was tired, and like just
what?
Giant confusion cluster. You know what? Like, what is going on in Seattle? And then, like, people are asking Pete today, like, is it time to rebuild? Like, what is it time? And they go, well, no, I don't think it's time to rebuild yet. Like, our systems are in place and we were doing this and we're doing that. And that tells me enough that I need to know. Like, if you still think it's working, Pete, it's time, bud. It's time. And I'm not saying, like, I've already said, like, don't fire Pete Carroll. Let Pete, walk off into the sunset. But I think it's time for new systems. It's time for a refresh. It's time for a different voice in the room. It's time for someone else to come in and take over. Not taking away anything from Pete Carroll. He's been great, and this has been the greatest era in Seahawks football, probably even in all of Seattle sports. This has been the greatest era. The Pete Carroll, Russell Wilson era has been phenomenal. I mean, of course, it produced a Super Bowl. But, when push comes to shove, something has to give. And I think, it's don't trade Russ. Like, we're not in I mean, I can see the benefit of trading Russell Wilson because we don't have our first round draft pick this year. It's now going to be probably a top 10 draft pick that the New York Jets get from that Jamal Adams trade, which is just brutal. And everyone said, like, at the time of the trade, like, oh, that's an overpayment. That's an overpayment. And a lot of people's rebuttal was like, yeah, well, the Seahawks will never have a high enough draft pick to get a Jamal Adams talent. And now here we are. Right. So I can see where, where the appeal might be there to trade Russell Wilson to recoup some of those first round draft picks and maybe move up in the draft this year to try to get some more talent or to do something. I don't know. But of course, the Bears drove down the field. Nick Foles threw what was, I guess, going to be game tying touchdown to Jimmy Graham, of all people, who all of a sudden remembered that he is a big tight end and he does know how to box out DBs, which is something he never knew how to do when he played in Seattle, which is super weird. And then Nagy decided, we've got nothing to lose. Let's go for 2 here. Pulled the old Harbaugh, and it paid off, and the Bears won the game 25-24. So I don't know, man. The Seahawks have lost to Nick Foles this year. They lost to Colt McCoy this year. They lost to Taylor Heineke this year. There's a long list of, just top-level elite quarterbacks that the Seahawks have lost to this year, and it's frustrating. It's exhausting. I'm still going to watch and I'm still going to love this team, but this has been one of the more frustrating years in a long time since, I mean, go back to the Jim Mora junior years. That was probably the last time I was this frustrated. And I remember
about having a franchise quarterback though, and they find ways to win you games all the time, even when you don't deserve to win games. So that should be telling you something when even Russell Wilson can't pull off this magic to win, whether it's like the defense letting it down or, you know, his receivers or his O-line aren't giving him time to move. So I totally get that. You get a franchise quarterback and you get spoiled for so many years, and then you have a down year and you're like, oh, right, this is reality for a lot of other teams. Like,
yeah,
and I'm lucky.
And that's I saw a tweet yesterday, and it was like, this is what the Seahawks would have looked like for the approximately the last 5 to 6 years if it wasn't for elite quarterback play from Russell Wilson. Yep. Russell Wilson's elite quarterback play has, you know, kind of hidden a lot of the personnel and coaching issues that Pete Carroll and John Schneider have created for the Seahawks. We're not getting elite Russell Wilson play this year, and it is all, you know, coming to a head. And, you know, already, like, we're seeing reports and articles being written about Russell Wilson, you know, being traded in the offseason again and asking to be traded. And I think there's already apparently a list of teams that he would go to, and New Orleans is of course on that list. And I did see one trade proposal, which I thought was quite laughable. I think it was just a fan that kind of threw it out there and be like, well, like, I would do this. And it's just like, well, yeah, no kidding, you would do this. The Bears wouldn't, though. It was like Justin Fields, Roquan Smith, and like multiple first round draft picks or something silly. And I'm like, yeah, the Bears aren't taking that deal. Like, no. Yeah, like, we get a young quarterback, a young middle linebacker. So then, you know, Bobby Wagner would also be sent packing in his $20 million cap hit. It's just like, it's not happening. I mean, dare to dream. It's, you know, it's fun to think about these unrealistic trade proposals, but
Madden stuff.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I'm sure I can make that happen in Madden. You know, maybe I'll go try that in franchise mode later. But I remember talking about the Jim Mora years. Actually, seeing as we're talking about Madden as well, is one of the things that I used to do in those Jim Mora years, because the team was really bad in those years, and they would get just absolutely annihilated week in and week out. Anytime the Seahawks played like a really, really bad game, I'd go upstairs. I put like Madden, what was it, 06 that I think Sean Alexander was on the cover. I'd plug that into my, you know.
Was before that?
No, I'm pretty sure it
was 05.
It would have been 05 or 06. It was right after he won the MVP award.
It's got to be 04. Because Ray Lewis is for sure 05, because I was unpacking some boxes and I still have the Ray Lewis Madden game. And it's
okay, it was Madden 07 actually.
07, really?
Yeah, because they said it was going to be it was going to be after he won the MVP, and he won the MVP I think in that 06 season. But anyways, the Seahawks would be super bad, super frustrating to watch. So I'd plug Madden in my Xbox, turn it down to rookie mode, and just like be like, oh, the Seahawks played the let's say the Rams. The Seahawks played the Rams this week. The Seahawks didn't play well, and they got beat up. Well, you know what? I'm going to go beat up the Rams in my Madden game and put up like 100 points on them. Sean Alexander, just it you know, just made me feel better. Hey, it's a healthier way to, I guess, deal with it than, like, I don't know, punching things. I don't know, throwing things across the room.
Yeah.
Oh man, need to buy a new TV again.
There's always one like viral video that goes out of their team like losing, and like a TV is always the recipient of like bad intentions and temper tantrums from fans. It's so funny. I remember a few years ago, I want to say it was about 3 years ago, this Steelers fan lost his mind, and he's like crying and he's like throwing his jersey up. He's like, I'm done with it. And like punches his TV and it like spiders and he's throwing it around. And his mom's like, what are you doing? He's like, shut up. Like just losing his mind. And like, of course I'm laughing. Like, are you kidding me? You just wrecked your TV.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. It's 2 more games left. We've got the Lions next week. Final home game of the season, which I don't know. It's one of those things where it's like, I want to see the Seahawks win, but at the same time, like if they lose again, like is that just like furthering the point that Pete needs to go? So, and then they end the season in Arizona versus the Cardinals. So, see what happens these last 2 games. Obviously, I'm not hoping for losses. I mean, I still want to be happy when I watch football, and even in a dismal season like this, I'm not happy seeing my team lose, no matter what. So.
That's so funny that you say that. There's this whole like, I mean, we're gonna jump into the Ravens right now, anyway, so this is a good segment. But so many Twitter fans are losing their ever loving minds that the Ravens should just lose the last 2 games, pack it in, throw the towel in, we'll get a better draft pick. 2022 is our year, and I'm thinking to myself, how do you even follow this team? How do you follow a team and hope that they lose? Like we at the, start of the year, we were and continue to make fun of the Jacksonville Jaguars because their fans actually cheer for their team to lose in their own stadium. And I'm sorry, that breeds a culture of losing. Your players don't want to play there. And when they play there, they're like, oh, sweet. Or, these people that are supposed to be rooting behind us are, now laughing at us and hoping like Nick Foles throws touchdowns on us, or no, it was Mitch Trubisky at the time. So
yeah, no, you cheer for your team to win.
Always.
If they lose, you use the okay, well, it gives us a better draft pick to like pick yourself up off the ground and make yourself feel a little bit better. Like
right.
That's the consolation prize. That's not what you want.
That's not the goal or the prize. Like I'm the same way as you, Chris. I'm never happy watching my team lose. Like it's like you said, it's a consolation kind of thing that it's like, okay, maybe not in the Seahawks case this year, but we would be getting a better draft pick. Like you can at least live with that sort of consolation. Yeah. So the whole idea is, the Ravens have so many injuries and they just continue to pile up. I say it week after week. I've never seen a season that is this ridiculous in terms of injuries. If you're just talking about the cornerback depth, the Ravens came into this game with 2 of their top 8 corners from the start of the year. So playing was Anthony Averett and Tavon Young. So Anthony Averett goes out really early. He takes like this. He goes to tackle CJ Uzama, and Uzama kind of like drags the knee a little bit and catches him under the ribs. And it turns out he's got like a fractured rib or something like that. Like you knew it was a rib right away. They go, sweet, Anthony Averett's out. So now we're missing Marcus Peters, Marlon Humphrey, Anthony Averett. Jimmy Smith is on the COVID list. Chris Westry is on the COVID list. Khalil Dorsey's on the COVID list. The Ravens actually had to reuse numbers of people who are on injury reserve list to make the numbers work. Like people think Ravens fans are just bitching about all the injuries. They had to share numbers with people who just aren't going to use them this week because there's not enough numbers from 1 to 99 that they are able. That's how many call-ups they have done. So that's what they started with. By the end of the game, Tavon Young also went out. So 0 of 8 of their top cornerbacks are good going into this game. And while you were talking, I actually saw a tweet that Tony Jefferson, the guy that they cut and brought back onto their squad because they're so low on defensive backs, is now on the COVID list as well. So they will be without their number 1 free safety. They will be without their number 2 safe. Like it's just unreal what's actually happening with the injury list. And I think in some ways it's made the tail end of this season just a little better. I've come to, accept the fact that when you are so shorthanded playing football, like something like 30 plus guys, 30 plus guys of a 53-man roster, my expectations for winning this game are so low. You know, like you said, I don't want to lose. I hate watching my team lose. But the fact of the matter is they went into this game against Joe Burrow, who is a really damn good quarterback. They went up against Jamar Chase, a really damn good wide receiver. T. Higgins, ridiculous. Tyler Boyd, really good. CJ Uzama, very good. Joe Mixon is a Pro Bowler this year. Like, if you had any expectations that Joe Burrow was not going to throw for 525 yards, you've never watched a game of football in your life. And it really does show. So when he threw for that many, I was like, okay, like, yeah, you set some, I think that's like the fourth highest passing yards in a single game. But
also a new record. That was another one of the random records that I saw last night. He's the first quarterback to ever throw for more than 400 yards against the same opponent twice in one season.
Right. And he did that, you know, I want to say like 4 weeks ago. Again, the Ravens defensive backs are absolutely just destroyed. Chris's daughter has come to join us. It's kind of like
Olivia, say hi.
Hi.
Hey.
Guest appearance from my 7-year-old daughter.
That's 2 weeks in a row. Olivia has been a guest star on the Ballhawks podcast. She's a natural.
Love you.
Someone else can take over for you, right?
Yeah, exactly. Okay, you getting the Lego? Sounds good.
And that's podcasting with kids, ladies and gentlemen. So yeah, like if you thought that he threw for over 400 yards when they had Anthony Averett, when they had Chris Westery. If you thought he wasn't going to go off, you had the blinders on. You don't want to see it, but when it happens, you're like, oh, okay, I understand. Like, I get why that would happen. The other thing going into that game was Lamar Jackson's out. Tyler Huntley then gets put on the COVID list. You have Josh Johnson, who is like 31,000 years old, or I think it's 36 or 37. He's played for basically every team in the NFL. He's played for the, you know, XFL, the ZYTFL. Like, he's played everywhere. How do you expect to win that game against, you know, a strong Bengals team? And you know what? Josh Johnson actually played well enough. He played well enough for the offense to put up 21 points. I was really happy to see some positive things come out of that game. So, I mean, the first one, Mark Andrews. This dude is on a whole nother level this year. We've been kind of, you know, talking about, you know, where do you put people in your wide receiver top 5 or whatever. Mark Andrews is the 6th leading wide receiver in the NFL right now with 1,187 yards, only 10 behind Tyreek Hill. So my question to you, for me, I put him as the number 1 tight end, but that's obviously a heavy dose of bias coming from a Ravens fan. Where do you put Mark Andrews in the top tier tight ends? Like, is he above Kelsey? Is he above Kittle? Is he 3rd? Where is he for you? Putting you on the spot again.
Yeah. No, I'm okay. I think Kittle's. So here, Kittle's tricky. Kittle is number 1 in my opinion, but Kittle also can't stay healthy. Like, Kittle would be like head and shoulders, like unquestioned number 1 tight end if he could stay healthy. And so, like, I still put him there, but like with a bit of an asterisk. What's that, sorry?
Wasn't that always like the big Gronk debate? Like, Gronk was on a whole nother level, like clearly the tight end one for so many years. But then it was like, are we going to see Gronk for 16 games back then? Yeah. Or are we going to see Gronk for 10 games? Or is he going to make 12 this year?
Yeah. And I think that's probably why a lot of people give the tight end 1 title to Travis Kelce over George Kittle, is because of health matters. You know, we've said it a lot. Availability matters. I don't know if I would put Andrews is obviously top 3. Like, he's He's at this point edged out Darren Waller for that number 3 spot.
Yeah, I don't even think that's a question anymore.
Yeah, right. Yeah, it's not.
Which is wild because Darren Waller, when he's playing full time, is a whole nother level of beast.
Yeah, but I do think Kittle and Kelsey are still ahead of Andrews at this point. Let's have this conversation a year from now, and that might be a totally different thing, right?
Yeah. So obviously Kelsey missed the game yesterday because of COVID. So, his receiving yards are a little lower than that. He's got 83 receptions. Mark Andrews has 93 now. Kelsey has 1,066 yards. Kelsey's at 1,187. Kelsey has 7 touchdowns. Mark Andrews has 9. There was also some other really interesting stats, and I should have actually taken a screenshot of it in terms of how many of his catches go for first downs. I actually have, for me, it has to start with you have to be available. And I agree with you. If Kittle's healthy, I think he does more for a team. But if you can't stay healthy, are you actually the best? So that's why I would have Andrews ahead of him. Now, in terms of Kelsey, obviously, I think age also comes into factor with this kind of stuff. He's got a lot longer of a career. And Kelsey's almost like plateaued a little bit, right? Like he's kind of hit his peak. We know what Kelsey is. He's going to be 1,000-yard receiver and 8 touchdowns. I feel like Andrews is just getting better and better every single, honestly, every single game now. So he now has 3 straight games going back to the Cleveland game of over 1,000 yards in one game. Yeah. Over 100 yards. And
sounds like the Ravens are playing on rookie mode like I used to there.
You know what, Cincinnati? I'm going off for 1,000 yards with Mark Andrews right now. I'm just every single time onside kick, recover it, pass it up to Andrews. Yeah, he's got 3 straight games. He's got a game of 115 yards, 136 yards, 125. He's got a touchdown in each of the games. He has 11, 10, and 8 receptions in those games. I see what this guy is doing, and he's doing it with Tyler Huntley. He's doing it with Josh Johnson now. He doesn't have the luxury of Patrick Mahomes throwing to him. So that would be my case for why I might put Mark Andrews at that elusive tight end number 1 spot. But I feel like those 3 guys, if you give me any of those names, you have a case to make tight end number 1 claims with all of them. I just think this is the first time in Andrews' career where he's actually in that conversation now. Like I started the start of the year, I put him in the top 3, top 5 kind of tight end title. Now you can't talk about tight end number 1 without talking Mark Andrews, which is pretty cool. Some other, I guess, positives that I saw in this game, Rashad Bateman got his first touchdown, which was pretty awesome to see. Our buddy Calvin, who follows the show, tweeted, he goes, "This is going to be a trivia question, and every single sports, trivial pursuit you're ever going to go to. Who was the quarterback who threw Rashad Bateman's first touchdown?" Everyone's going to be like, "Oh, Lamar Jackson, for sure." No, it was Josh Johnson. So it was good that they were targeting him. Obviously, you like to see a guy like that get his first touchdown. He's been so close. He got robbed of one in a different game. So that was really good to see. And then some other young wide receivers really showed out this game. And again, we're talking about Josh Johnson throwing them the ball. James Prochet had 7 catches for 76 yards. He had a career game for himself. He's been, behind Marquise Brown, behind Sammy Watkins, behind Rashad Bateman. He's been behind Devin Duvernay. He kind of got his shot now, and he capitalized on it. And I love seeing those young, physical wide receivers get those chances. And then rookie Tylan Wallace, which oddly is one of the cards that you gave me from your stack of cards. He had only 1 catch for 18 yards. But the catch that he made, he kind of caught it over the middle, broke a tackle, fought off, and then just kept charging his way backwards. And he needed basically 16 of those 18 yards to get a critical first down. And it was just good to see a young rookie kid who hasn't been getting playing time get his shot and, make the most of it with that. But when it comes down to everything, this is the Ravens' fourth straight loss now. They still are in a playoff spot. That was kind of an interesting caveat to the game, is they started outside of the playoffs. They lost to Cincinnati, and then they got back into the playoffs. Now, they're in that seventh spot. They hold the tiebreaker over the Chargers and the Raiders because of the wild card 3 team. And if it's so confusing, I don't want to get into that. But basically, because the Chargers and Raiders are in the same division, you have to eliminate one of them. So you use a tie-breaking process for any teams in similar divisions. So that kicks the Raiders out because the Chargers have the tiebreaker over them. And then the Ravens beat the Chargers earlier in the year, so they have the tiebreaker over the Chargers. So basically, the Ravens need the Chargers to stay pace with the Raiders. And obviously, I just think the Ravens need to win the next two. They need help tonight with the Miami Dolphins. I can't remember if they're home or if they're away. I think the Saints are at home tonight. But the Dolphins are playing rookie quarterback Ian Book. He was named the starter. And so the Ravens need some help from New Orleans to stay in that final playoff spot. And, I'm not holding my breath on this season. They have to play LA at home. Good news, they get to play at home. If they can make Aaron Rodgers go right to the brink, they can make Matthew Stafford go to the brink. But again, it depends on the availability of the defensive backs. If Matthew Stafford has, Robert Jackson as cornerback number 1 versus Cooper Kupp versus Van Jefferson versus Odell Beckham, it's going to be another repeat of what Joe Burrow did to them. I hope not, but it's just kind of like facts are facts, right? So that's the Ravens recap. But you know what? I'm enjoying football right now. They're losing, but I'm taking it for what it is. Like, it's a depleted roster. You're kind of playing with house money at this point. So if we win, sweet, let's shock the world and win. If we don't, my expectations have to be lowered because of the roster they are putting out every single week. So that's the Ravens recap for you. Yeah. It's a very sad day in the Ball Hawks podcast.
Yeah.
Football's stupid and I hate it. But
I'm going to play Madden on rookie mode now.
At least you won fantasy football. You're going to the championship.
Going to the championship. I at least got to play fantasy football for free this year.
That's right. There is a consolation prize if you happen to lose.
Yeah.
And I did trade with somebody in our league who did not make the playoffs, and they are in the consolation finals. So if they win the consolation bracket, then I own the first overall pick. So that's something to look forward to. And funny enough, the person that they are playing also traded their first round pick. So myself and Kyle are hoping to win the first overall pick via somebody else. We've been having fun with it lately.
Wouldn't that be, that happened a couple years ago too, didn't it? Isn't that how Kayla ended up with the first overall draft pick one year?
Oh, because she traded it away, or she traded for someone's.
That's right. No, she traded with Mike, and then her and Mike ended up facing off in the consolation final. No. So win or lose, Kayla was going to end up with the first and second overall draft pick.
That's so funny. And now she's in the finals. So
now she's in the finals.
Clearly knows more than me. Anyways, I'm not in the finals. So
yeah. This is her back-to-back finals for her too.
Back-to-back finals. She could be a back-to-back champ.
First time.
Don't let her do it.
I'll do my best, but I don't know. She is Jonathan Taylor, so I'm not overly.
I need a career week from Amon-Ra St. Brown.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
Box.
yeah. If Melvin Gordon can do better than 0 points this week, maybe I have a chance.
Yeah.
That
Uh,
brings us into everybody's favorite segment, the third down, which is, of course, presented by Bad Tattoo Kelowna. I just gave it away what we're doing, but that's okay. Steve hasn't seen it yet. I'll hide it. Quick.
Oh, I actually wasn't. I was going to do something else. So
perfect. If you want beer shipped directly to your doorstep, which I mean, who doesn't, go sign up for the Bad Tattoo Beer Club today. Get exclusive access to new releases with no monthly fees, no minimum orders, and no commitment. Go sign up for the Bad Tattoo Beer Club at badtattoobrewing.com and order some damn good beer. Which I think their most recent, and it was their last release of 2021. Was it the Chai Stout?
I have not been looking through emails because I've been looking through boxes, but I would believe you if you said the Chai Stout.
I think that's what it was. But I finished up my my Advent calendar, of course, a couple days ago.
What of all the beers you got from your Advent calendar, what do you think was like your top one? What was your absolute favorite?
I mean, the beer that they gave me for Christmas Eve.
Which was what?
The chocolate peanut butter porter.
Oh, is that what it was for Christmas Eve?
For Christmas Eve, yeah.
Good for them. That's a smart poll right there.
The one thing I'll say about the Advent calendar that I really actually liked and was a nice surprise is it gave me a newfound appreciation for sours. I don't like sour beers, but theirs are actually really good. So I won't be so hesitant next time I'm there if they're like, oh, you should try this new sour beer that we have. I'll be like, yeah, you know what? Maybe I will try that because all of your other sours have been really good. So
yeah. That's such an interesting thing. Hey, just by using no extracts and syrups and just using if it's cherries, using real cherries in there makes all the difference, right?
Yeah.
So peanut butter was I've been raving about it this whole off season, every fall winter season. I can't get enough, but this year especially, I think I probably went through over two flats maybe of it the whole time. I just couldn't get enough of it.
Still can't. I've got some in my fridge right now.
Yeah. So this is the one I've been having a couple of
Hellion.
Real good camera work here.
Yeah.
So they're Hellion IPA, a little stronger of a beer. That doesn't dissuade me from getting a beer, but a lot of times I stay away from it. This one's really well balanced. It's smooth. It's got just enough of that bitterness. So if you guys have a chance to get the Hellion IPA, don't be discouraged by the badass can. That actually kind of draws me to it a little more. That would be my pick of the week if I had to pick one. Been having a couple of those.
Yeah. Maybe. Well, we both have the week off. We'll have to try and make our way down to Bad Tattoo Kelowna, grab a pizza and some beer or something.
Hey, maybe we'll do it on a Sunday where you can get 2-for-1 pizza with beer.
I like that idea.
I mean, if I like one pizza, I'm going to like 2 pizzas.
Absolutely. And special guest of the episode, Olivia, didn't get to go last time we went. So she's she's still asking Dad, can I go to Bad Tattoo, please? I haven't had a chance to go yet. And she gives me the puppy dog eyes. And I'm like, oh, jeez, kid.
Why do you have to be so cute?
Yeah. Let's go right now. But this week, for the third down segment presented by Bad Tattoo Kelowna, I mentioned it earlier in the episode that we were lucky enough to have a white Christmas. And now we're sitting here the week after Christmas. It's cold outside. There's all this white stuff on the ground. And I'm like, what am I going to do with these kids? So that brings me into the snow day third down.
Oh.
So show head-to-head matchups of some of the, snow day activities that you may enjoy yourself or your kids enjoy or you enjoyed as a kid. So Steve, third down. Are you ready?
I'm ready. Let's do this thing.
All right. So it's only 3 matchups this week because my brain wasn't working to come up with a fourth one. So
Yes, I
first
have to think less too today.
first matchup, we have snowball fight versus building a snowman.
Ooh.
Do you
I
want
don't
to
like
build
that.
Do you want to build a snowman?
Yes, every time, Elsa. I guess that was Elena. This is a tough one. If I was doing it just like nostalgically, I think snowball fights. I mean, how can you go wrong with a snowball fight when you were a kid and it was the neighbors, you had like forts that you built, and it was just like an all-day event building your fort. And we would even prep snowballs. You'd have like your ammunition in your fort, and then it was like go, and it was just like a melee you're trying to like run through. And I don't know, sometimes we did like capture the flag with it, and if you got hit with a snowball, you had to like go back to your base and stuff. Like just all sorts of fun, cheap fun. That's what kids are missing nowadays, is cheap fun. I'm sure there's an app for like snowball fight wars or something that kids do now. No, we did the real thing. No ice balls. No ice is wrong. That is like
No yellow snow either.
no yellow snow, no ice balls. You probably got beat up if you did anything like that, and for good reasons. That's dirty. But I love building snowmen with my kids. Maybe it's because I'm older that I always, veer towards what I like to do with my kids more. I do like throwing snowballs at them because they're too small to actually get me. So I'm like, ha ha ha, like, whack. You can like hide behind something. You're like, don't throw it at the truck though.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's very few things that I do every single year in the snow or around Christmas time. Building a snowman out in the bush is usually a must with the kids. They love it. It's exciting for them. So I'm picking, I would like to build a snowman.
God, I was gonna say, like, how can you tell that we're both dads? That like my choice would have been building a snowman as well, and that's because it's like, well, it's something I would get to do with my kids, and like it's fun, it's enjoyable, and I mean,
What
it's
old dads?
yeah, right. Same thing though. I throw snowballs at my kids and my wife. That's pretty much exclusively it.
Oh, that's a dangerous one. Like, hey, wife, you're part of the kids team. It's you and the kids versus me.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, no. Usually, once I throw one at my wife, then my kids start throwing them at her as well, and stop it. Or like every now and then I'll
get mom.
Yeah, every now and then I'll make a snowball. Like as I'm like next week when the kids go back to school, I'll be like putting the kids in the car and buckling up their car seats, and I'll like make a snowball and throw it at my wife when she's standing at the doorway. She gets mad at me because you got snow in the house. Which
totally, like, yeah, it'll melt by the time we get home. Don't worry.
Totally worth it.
So worth it.
Next matchup, we have skiing versus snowboarding.
Oh, easy one. Snowboarders suck. Skiers are the superior one. It's not even close. You're mistaken and you're lying to yourself if you think snowboarders are superior to skiers. Snowboarders are just so annoying on the chairlift too. Like when you're going up, the skiers, like your skis are in your own like lanes. They're right in front of you. And then the snowboarders like put their snowboard on your skis and you're like, child, please get your snowboard off my skis. Like, let it dangle from your ankle or figure out a better way because you suck, or sit on the ends. Snowboarders are just the worst. So skiing by far.
That one surprised me. I don't ski or snowboard, so I have no dog in this fight. So I guess for anyone that's got a take on that, hit up Steve at SS Fisher 87.
It was on there.
For the last matchup, we have snowshoeing versus sledding, like tobogganing. Like, get up the GT snow racers and go barreling down a hill with no helmet on.
Of course.
Yeah.
One of my favorite memories on GTs, and it kind of scarred me a little bit, was when I was super young. My aunt, like, I'm sure they were all drinking and stuff like that, jumps on the GT, goes off this huge kicker, bounces on the GT, goes flying off and breaks her arm. Like the first run of the day, everyone's down there and like they had to, take her to the hospital and this and that. And I was like, oh my gosh, GTing is the scariest thing ever. This is a tough one because obviously my kids have done a lot of sledding. You throw a kid on a sled when they're barely able to move. They go flying down the hill. They'll always like it. We just bought some snowshoes last winter for the kids, and I think they're still a little too young to really enjoy the snowshoeing because I love snowshoeing. I love adventuring. So it shouldn't surprise you that I love, tossing on a pair of snowshoes and getting into winter places that you wouldn't be able to with, just boots. But there's nothing funner than getting to like a really crazy hill and seeing kids just like in their absolute most joyous time in the world. I feel like anybody can go sledding. You can't really, like I said, you can't really take younger kids snowshoeing for too long, or they get tired or they don't want to do it. But you could be up at a sled hill forever. And I think tubing kind of goes with sledding. So I'm picking sledding. The only thing I will say this, the only reason I don't want to pick sledding is because after about an hour, it's always like, Dad, can you carry me up the hill? And you're like, no, you get yourself up the hill because I'm going down for another run. So you don't go down unless you're willing to walk back up.
Right.
And that usually ends in like tears. I'm like, oh, Dad's not carrying me up the hill. And I go flying by them like as they're like barely at the, off the base. And I'm like, I'm already up and down again. That starts another fight. And but I do like sledding with my kids.
Hey kids, look how good at sledding I am.
I'm gonna go down on my stomach this time. This is like the 10th run I've done since you've been crying at the bottom.
Don't do that.
Oh, go down on, try and like snowboard it. Try to go down on your knees. Go down like face first.
I learned
that is scary. Do it, kids.
Oh yeah, kids, go for it. Adults, grown men, don't go down on your stomach. No, I learned that either last year or 2 years ago. That going down on your stomach is made for kids and not grown men. Also learned this past summer that slip and slide is made for kids and not grown men. Hurt myself where it really hurts.
Wow. Oh, yeah. Sharp rock.
Yeah. Oh, the slip and slide. I get up and I'm like, oh, and Nadine's like, did you hurt yourself? Like, are you okay? Like, what's wrong? I'm like, yeah, I'm hurt. She's like, is it your leg? Like your stomach? I'm like, nope, none of those. Yeah. Yeah. I'm a tripod.
Why is there 3 lines in the snow?
Oh God. We'll have to now that you're we'll talk about this off air. Not being a tripod. Something else. Something else, people. Something else.
That was the worst timing for that sentence, Pod. We'll talk about tripods off air, okay?
Yeah, I got to really. Anyways, quick rundown here, Steve. You chose sledding, skiing, and building a snowman. What is your snow day MVP?
Oh, you know what? I think, like, when I think snow day, I think snow days as in, like, it doesn't actually happen much in the Okanagan where we are. Apparently, I want to say it was like 2014. There was 2 snow days, and they hadn't had a snow day in like 20 something years. Obviously, I was born and raised somewhere else, about 4 hours up north of where we live right now. And it is significantly colder and significantly more snow falls. So we would have snow days at least, 3 or 4 a year. And whenever I think of snow days, I think of it's too cold to go to school, right? Usually it's never, every once in a while there was one where it was like, oh my gosh, there's too much snow and you can't drive. Those were the best snow days because it wasn't too cold. So I'm basing my answer on the snow days where you could actually go and do something. Because if it was too cold, I don't know if I'd want to do any of those things. But I'm gonna pick sledding. I don't know why I'm picking sledding. If I'm being selfish, I would pick skiing, like a snow day where it just dumped snow and you get up to the hill. There's nothing better than hitting that fresh powder. I think most adults would pick skiing, or if you're crazy in the head, you would pick snowboarding. But going up to the hill to ski or snowboard, snowman, it has to be the perfect right consistency to do it. You can't plan those things out, so I guess by process of elimination, I would pick sledding. And again, I love taking my kids out. I think it's the easiest one to go with the optimal amount of fun involved.
Well, let's see. Did you get the first down? I'm calculating the numbers here, checking the stats.
Tabulating, he says first.
Tabulating. I'm tabulating the numbers.
Going through the database.
It's funner that way. And you were just about there. You were so close. You were so close getting there when you almost said the right answer by going off the board and saying, F this noise, I'm staying inside where it's warm. No first down for Steve this week.
What a horrible third down host you are. Hey, pick one of the three.
You almost got there. You almost, even still though, you still almost came to the conclusion that we all know the right answer is stay inside where it's warm.
I vividly remember in the early third down episodes, you would lose your mind if I went off. Oh, you can't go off board. You can't be like, just pick one of the things. There's no like arguing, and you can't make up your own thing. And now getting the third or the first down hinges on me cheating and making my own answers. Watch, next week, I'm going to do that. I'm going to pick my own answer. I'm like, no, you know what you should actually do? You should just sit there and make snow angels and like drink beer in your lawn chair or something like that. And then you're going to be like, oh yeah, you actually got sacked on this third down episode because you cheated and you picked your own answer.
That's the fun of the third down. You'll just never know. You'll never know, Steve.
Always know. The rules change depending if I like pick the right answer. Like I pick your answers and you're like, crap, how do I give him almost the first down but not actually give it to him? Oh, I know what I'll do. I'll go back on what I said before, you freaking hypocrite. Man, I'm fired up now.
Thank you once again to our presenting sponsor of the third down segment, Bad Tattoo Kelowna, where you can find Steve crying into his beer for once again not getting the first down.
Added extra little salty in there. I'm drinking the tears of my own losses. Yes. All right, Chris. This has been a fun episode. Thanks for joining me for 44 consecutive episodes. But unfortunately, this one, I can't give you the last words because I'm going to be a prick back to you. No, I'm just kidding. Like I usually do, Chris. What are your final thoughts and words?
Like I said, guys, only 2 more games left in the season. Luckily for us Seahawks fans, the pain is almost over. The hurt is going to end soon. And then we get a really fun offseason of Russell Wilson trade rumors for months on end again. So can't wait. Watch these last 2 games. Cheer for your team. Don't watch them. I don't care. I'm going to watch them. And we appreciate you guys listening. You can find us over on Twitter at ballhawks_pod. We're on Facebook, Instagram. We're on YouTube. Follow Steve at ssfisher87. You can find me on Twitter at phillipschris12. We are a proud part of the Dean Blundell Network. And as always, guys, go Hawks.
Peace.